Hello there, welcome back to Sample Chapters. Today I shall be reading you another excerpt from volume 1 of my book called Why You Make God Smile Despite Your Faults and Weaknesses. I don't know who the author of this quote was, but I think it is very apt because it is so true of a lot of us. It says, there is often a big gap between who we are and how we want to be seen. Well, this quote aptly describes the man in this story. This is a true story. It is about a time when I and my sister and two friends were on a train and we had an encounter with a certain gentleman. The title is The Masks We Wear, Tough Guy. He sat staring ahead while listening to a rock song, his eyes focused on the Central Line map. The London Underground tube train was speeding towards Marble Arch as my friends and I glanced at him from seats opposite. Looking at him, anyone of the same ilk would say he had the best music and the best tattoos. I could see that an angry skeleton was emerging from his collarbone and a bloody dagger from both wrists. His hair was so black it glowed purple. The two rings in his left nostril jingled together each time the train came to a jolt. His expressionless eyes were lined with thick black kohl that made them look like a furious pharaoh. As for the chain that hung from his hips, it could have easily held down 4 vicious pit bulls. Most parts of his body were draped in dark leather, and his boots were so huge a footprint from them would frighten the meanest leopard. With earphones positioned on both sides of his head, it was evident he was concentrating on the song playing at top volume. Had the train not been so loud, I'm sure the bass tones would have been felt clearly thumping through my chest. My companions were not used to travelling in the capital city, so they were unaware of the "don't stare a crazy person in the eye" rule. So while I averted my gaze, the other 3 scrutinised him with bemusement. "Love is death," he suddenly shouted. I closed my eyes to avoid the temptation to glance across. "Love is death," he shouted again. Like many hardcore rock music lyrics, the words sounded like they were penned by someone who is deeply depressed, sad and angry, angry and sad. It came again, this time with a little more melody. "Love is death." This went on for ages. Each time he sang his strange declaration, he became more impassioned and began to look our way when he realised he had our attention. I bit my lip. Marjorie pulled in her cheeks. Nigel closed his eyes and Abigail got out a book. All of a sudden, Marjorie could bear it no longer and let out the loudest laugh. She put her hands up to her face to cover her eyes and leant forward with her shoulders shaking rapidly. Like a domino effect, her outburst set the rest of us off and we all sat in a row, bodies quivering in hysterics. Our entertainer got the response he'd craved and moved on to a quieter song. Had any of us been in a carriage with him all on our own, I don't think our rocker friend would have seemed so amusing. His attire and actions were chosen deliberately to intimidate people or to at least cause them to notice him. But no matter how tough we pretend to be, we are all desperate to be loved, appreciated and understood. Scary makeup, a bolshy manner, vocabulary littered with expletives, a plethora of tattoos, tribal art on our shoulder, a noisy car exhaust, a satanic bracelet, martial art awards, rebellion and an air of nonchalance may make us feel we are cool, tough and to be revered. However, when we approach in the time to be taken out of this world, we are as vulnerable as a newborn baby. No one can fight death, and when it is staring them in the face, there's nothing they can do. Death doesn't care how mean you look and how many barbells you can lift. It is in the throes of passing from this world into the next that many people cry out to God for his mercy. And at that point, they don't care how ridiculous they look or how wimpy they sound. When Singer Man reached his destination, he stood up, chains clanking, leather squeaking. But just before he had time to grab hold of the thick railings near the train doors, two items fell from inside the pocket of his jacket. A Danielle Steele book and a Chupa Chups lollipop. Not a bottle of spirituous vodka and a pamphlet on Wicca, a soppy love story and kiddie candy. On his clown white skin, a crimson colour spread from his neck to his forehead, indicating that these items were his possessions. Once more there were smiles along our row. Maybe deep down he wasn't comfortable with who he was portraying himself to be. Maybe he considered his tattoos to be ugly. Maybe the heavy chains caused him lower back pain. Maybe the thick leather caused him to sweat profusely. And maybe, just maybe, his ears hurt from the high decibels going through them. Who knows? All I know is, despite the tough exterior we like to show the world, there's a big softie inside all of us. Thank you for listening to that story. Like I said at the beginning, that was a true story. Isn't it true? We sometimes just put on this image, this mask, because we want people to view us as being a certain type of person. But really, deep down, God sees our hearts and he knows who we really are. And if there's anybody we really shouldn't be false towards, it is God, because he knows what we're really like. But that's great, because we can be honest with him and we can be vulnerable with him without feeling we're going to be mocked or judged. God loves us, even though he knows us warts and all. He knows what we look like naked, doesn't he? He's the one that created our bodies. So if you don't know God, I would like to encourage you to get to know him, because he really loves you just as you are. If you enjoyed this story and you would like some more, I will be reading you some more chapters from my book. And if you want to hear other stories from other books, check out the playlists, because there are other excerpts from other books. In the meantime, have a great day and I will see you soon. Bye bye.